A childcare business for under $15,000. If you are looking for something super low where your cost and your money is not that great, this is going to be the video for you, because in this video today I'm going to be telling you how we started a business in our childcare program of an expansion, and we only had $15,000 for that classroom, for that budget. So you may wonder, like, can that really happen? How's that possible? I'm gonna give you some shortcut ways and some gems that maybe you didn't think about that can help you get started in your childcare business. Let's get into it. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique Savage. If you're new to this video, if you're new to my channel, in this community here of educated minds, I talk and teach about everything relevant to childcare in the industry, from startup to business to finance to organization, grants, everything else under the sun. I have been a childcare owner and operator with my mom for the past 13 years, and our business overall has been open for the past 26 years. So I have seen a lot in that space, and that's why I love to sprinkle all of my great good energy on all of my startup and childcare providers and give you guys some of that like backroom game that people don't be talking about, because running a childcare business is hard. It can be very costly, but it can also be very rewarding if done the right way. So you may wonder, the first thing is like, dang, 15,000? That's really low. That can't be possible. Well, one of the things I want to share, guys, is back when I first graduated with my master's degree, I was actually in school for my master's degree on this location. I was getting my master's degree, and I was like, hey, I don't need you know, an actual loan to go to school, because of course y'all know your girl gonna find all the grants to go to school to do anything of that sort. So I had a scholarship for my bachelor's degree, and I got a scholarship for my master's degree, but I didn't need housing. So the money that I would have got for housing, I used that to actually open up my fourth location site. And that location site, because I wanted to start a childcare program, but I couldn't afford to really like go all in and have 50,000 and like all that money that I needed, I was like, I'm gonna start small. So one of the first things I did was decide on what age group I wanted to serve. That's the first thing. Start a childcare business that serves after school children. A lot of people do not talk about this because they think like, oh, I don't want to do after school kids. But when you really think about the after school program, an after school program that's specifically for after school is a lot of less overhead. Number one, the children aren't there 10 hours a day. They're there almost like only 3 to 4 hours a day based on when they got to go to school and when they get out, minus half days and or summer camp, totally excluding that. But I wanted to start something that I knew that I could be definitely a part of and be their hands-on all the time, but I didn't have a lot of startup capital. So I decided on starting with my mom, and I started doing an after-school program only because I knew that the overhead would be less. The second thing after we started that was, now I got to secure a building. So I knew from the mere beginning what my number in rent was that I could not go over. So at that time, I knew $1,600 is what I'm gonna be able to afford for a building. Whether it's for 2 floors, 1 floor, whether it's just for a straight run, like I knew $1,600, no more than 17 and 18 was pushing it. I would have took it though. But $1,600 is something I could not go over more when it came to getting rent for that building. I didn't purchase the building. This was straight lease, okay? So $1,600 at that time was what exactly I knew I couldn't go over, because I gotta have a little bit of leeway for payroll, utilities, and everything else under the sun. So I determined how many children I wanted to service. I knew that I wanted to service at least under 20 children, because why? I didn't have that much money. That was our definition of starting small. So the first thing you wanna think about is your size, how many children you wanna service, and you wanna find a building that's in your range of rent that you can afford. Do not go out there and get a building knowing daggone well your number is $1,600 and the guy saying, oh, I could do 21. 21 is not a part of your budget. So do not go over your 16 or a little wiggle room like $1,750. You understand what I'm saying? So that was one of the first things, is starting super small and knowing what my rent number was that I could actually afford comfortably. The third way on how we started a business for under $15,000 was going to be the actual, I guess I love to say, is finding a building that was already a childcare program. I cannot stress this enough. I talk about this all the time in our Childcare Startup University course. In our Childcare Startup University course, if you're looking for it, look at this link down below. But I teach you how to open up your childcare business from A to Z. And in there, I drop this gem, okay? So one of the things is that we knew, obviously, going into it, I needed a building that was already a childcare program. Meaning it didn't have to be open and operated, but it was closed down and it was zoned as a childcare program. You want to find a building that was already zoned. Finding a building that's already zoned as a previous childcare site is going to save you legal fees and going to save you zoning fees. I can't stress it enough. Again, it's going to save you legal fees on getting zoned, and then all the fees you got to pay to get zoned, or all the construction things you got to do in order to meet the code of zoning in order to get your certificate of occupancy. See how that go? So finding a center that's already zoned as a childcare program was our number 3 game that I knew as we were searching the market. I got to find something that's already zoned, because I definitely, my mom and I included, we cannot afford to go through the zoning process again, okay? Another thing I did in that process of starting it in that space is I negotiated some lease terms. I cannot stress this enough. So I negotiated lease terms in the space of how much the lease was, what was due, whether it's first, last security deposit. I also tried to negotiate some months for free, because at the end of the day, on average, this is average, even if you're taking over someone's building or finding a building that's already leased, it takes about 5 to 6 to 7 months to get it zoned, and that's on a night to get it like open. That's on a nice number, okay? That's under the assumption that the city is moving fast, approving applications, every contract that'll come in do exactly what you want them to do to the T. It never really goes that way, but 6 to 7 to 8 months is what you can expect on opening up your childcare program, making sure and assuming that everything goes according to your timeline. And so in that space, I wanted to negotiate some months for free. So I was able to negotiate 3 months free after I paid the security deposit first and last and whatever else was required in that space. So they gave me, on that $1,600 rent, they gave me 4 months free. The reason why they gave me 4 months free is because the building had been vacant, right? And not only was the building was vacant for a while, so the landlord was looking to get it off their hands, but also more importantly, this wasn't our first rodeo. So that owner knew, like, nah, I know they've been open for at least 15 years, so I know that they know what they're doing when they're acquiring this building, and it's not going to be like, oh, I thought I could do it, but now I got to break my lease type of energy, okay? So you want to try to negotiate some months for free when you're trying to open up at a If you guys like this video and more where they came from, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you know when I drop a video, and also make sure you leave me some comments down below and let me know what is your startup budget and what are you doing to minimize your startup costs. Until next time.